Welcome back to your Level 6 Math. This is Mr. C with Lesson 9 from Saxon Math. Today we're looking at the number line with ordering and comparing. This is where we're going to talk about equal to, greater than, less than, and making comparisons. The way we use this in the real world is usually in estimating and figuring out if one thing is more than or less than or equal to something else. You might use that in financial transactions, in calculating costs. You might do that in trading different things. So we use this lesson very indirectly in a lot of things in life. And so it's really important that we just get the basics, the fundamentals down, especially when it comes to ordering and knowing which is less than or greater than when it just comes to two simple numbers. And so we're going to practice that today. Here we go. So a counting number is simply a number that you can count things on. It doesn't include zero, it doesn't include negative numbers, it doesn't include decimals, it doesn't include fractions. It's just simply 1, 2, 3, 4 on up. A whole number also doesn't have fractions or decimal parts and no negatives. So very similar. Counting numbers and whole numbers are basically the same thing. All right, on a number line, we use that to show kind of the position in numbers. And this is going to help you, even if you have a number line just mentally in your head, it's going to help you kind of distinguish which number is greater, because the greatest numbers will be further right on the number line. And so this is a good strategy simply for visualizing greater than or less than. We do have negative numbers. Often in the real world, we'll put negative things in the red and positive things in the black. Why they did it blue here, I don't know, because we usually say you're in the black if it's positive or you're in the red if it's negative. We use that in business all the time and in doing investments and things like that. So red is typically showing negative numbers, but the easiest thing is just to see if it has a negative on it. On a number line, certainly that's anything left of zero. All right, and I think that's it for that one. A number line is a good way to show the order of things, and the arrowheads show that the line continues without end. We know that from our last lesson. That's just simply a line. And number lines can be labeled with different kinds of numbers. So here we're using whole numbers on the right, or counting numbers, and then on the left we're just doing negative numbers. Okay? So let's arrange these orders or numbers from least to greatest. Now the way that they want you to do that is think about a number line and visualize it on a number line. Which one would be further left on a number line? Well, we have to look what's the smallest. It's going to be 112, then 121, then 211. The way they visualize that or show that on a number line is they'll show like relative distance, 112, 121, 211. One thing I like to do, just to make sure I have it straight, is I'll put those numbers down. I'm just going to do the same thing, 121, 112, 211, and I'm just going to decide which one is the least first and put that furthest left. The way you do that is you start left to right and you look at the first number. So if they're lined up, 1 is less than 2, so I can eliminate 2. I know that this will be the greatest, so I can put that on the right, 211. Then of these, 1 is equal, so I'll go to the next number, and 1 is less than 2, so that will be the least. So I'll start with 112, then I'll go to 121, then I'll go to 211. And that's a really easy way to figure out least to greatest. But you have to make sure that they're lined up right, so that you're going from the hundreds to the tens to the ones, or if you're dealing with decimals or fractions, you have to put them in a way that makes them comparable, okay? So when we compare numbers, we decide whether the numbers are equal, like an equal sign, not equal, and we would use greater than or less than to show that they're not equal, okay? So those are our signs. You think of the alligators or the alligator mouth or whatever, and then just the equal sign should be pretty familiar. So here we're comparing 5,012 to 5,102. Thinking about which one's greater than or less than. Let's start on the left again. So 5 is the same, so then we go to the next number, and 0 is less than 1. Because they're both 4-digit numbers, we can just go from left to right. 0 is less than 1, so this is going to be less than. We're going to represent that by doing less than. That means in less than and greater than, the greater than always beats eats the big one, right? So it's going to eat the bigger one because alligators are always hungry. All right, so they're getting the bigger one. All right, so 5,012 is less than 5,102, okay? And we're going to practice a lot of that today with simple numbers, but we're also going to combine numbers and then find which one's less than or greater than. So we're going to use a previous lesson now. Remember our order of operations: PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. So if we're looking at this, we have to say, do the one in the parentheses first. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 16 divided by 4 is 4. Here, we just go left to right because there's no parentheses. 16 divided by 8 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So what is greater, 1 or 4? 4 is bigger, so let's eat the bigger one and put our alligators facing that way. All right? Check our work here. 1, 4. Let's eat the bigger one. So, and they just showed the greater is this. They didn't have to rewrite it as 4 and 1. On your homework, sometimes you'll rewrite it and have, you'll simplify and just put 4 and 1. Other times you'll leave the whole problem. Okay, use digits and symbols to write this comparison. So now we're just writing it out. 1/4, so the way we write that is 1/4 is less than, that means the alligator is eating the other side, so this is less than 1/2. So we simply just write it out. 1/4 is less than 1/2. So you'll get to practice that, just going typically left to right, just writing exactly what they have in words. 1/4 is less than 1/2. And that's it. So not a real tricky lesson today, but this will be good practice in seeing what's greater than, less than, or equal, and ordering things from least to greatest. So we're going to practice that. You'll use this all year long, so it's good to nail it down right now. All right.